all the rage right now is people tracing their ancestry. Sites like 23andMe and others will have you take a little swab and send it in, and they'll tell you where your parents came from, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. I read recently that 26 million people have taken an at-home ancestry test. How many of you have done this already? Is it quite a few of you? Actually, we're curious about our roots. Well, there's a genealogist who attends our church. And he came up to me recently and said, I studied your family tree. This is what I do. And here's what I discovered. And I have to admit, I was pretty surprised by some of the things he came up with. And some of the people I found out that I have a relation to, some closer, some more distant. For starters, I found out that I am actually related to Johnny Cash. And I wrote a book about him. Now, we look nothing alike, Johnny and I, of course. Johnny has hair, I don't. But I was kind of excited because I wrote a book about Johnny Cash, obviously. And as it turns out, my great-grandmother, I didn't even know this until this genealogist told me, my great-grandmother was named Letitia Cash. She was from the same Cash family that immigrated from Scotland to Virginia. So Letitia Cash, my great-grandmother, her daughter, Stella, and then Stella married a guy named Charles McDaniel. We called him Daddy Charles and Mama Stella. That's my grandmother. And then Stella had a daughter named Charlene, and I'm the son of Charlene, so I'm distantly related to Johnny Cash. I found out also I'm actually related distantly to Steve McQueen. I wrote a book on him too. How about that? I didn't know that when I wrote these books. It's just interesting to find these things out. I also found out that I'm distantly related to Billy and Ruth Graham. So it's kind of a funny thing because all these, and I'm writing a book about Billy Graham right now. So I didn't know any of this when I started writing these books. Okay, so that's amazing to hear. I also found out I'm a distant relation to Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, and Walt Disney. Now, I've always loved Walt Disney. Lincoln and Jefferson too, they were okay, but Walt Disney, I'm kind of kidding. I really have always been enamored with Abraham Lincoln. I've read a lot of books about him. But Walt Disney, I've always loved the creativity of Disney. And when I was a little kid, he was like my hero. I wanted to be Walt Disney when I grew up. I just wish I could get some Disney passes out of this somehow. What is it, like a year-long pass, like $10,000 now? It's something like that. Okay, so that might be kind of impressive to some people. Wow, you're related to these people. But I also found out I'm related to some more notorious figures. I'm related to Benedict Arnold. Ever heard of him? He was a traitor, and he went and served for the British in the Revolutionary War. And so I'm related to him. I'm also related to criminal John Dillinger. I'm not very excited about that, though I'm thinking of growing a mustache like he has maybe one day. And finally, I'm related to Jesse James, the outlaw. Okay, so I've got some impressive people in my family tree and not so impressive people. I have some heroes and a few zeros. That's interesting to find out. You say, well, why do you bring this up? Because we're going to talk now about the family tree of Jesus. And you might be surprised to know there were a few rogues in the gallery. I'm talking prostitutes, liars, adulterers, even a murderer. You heard me right. All of these people and more were in the genealogy of Jesus Christ, because the family tree of Jesus was decorated with notable sinners. And I bring this up because, we all have relatives we're a little bit embarrassed by, right? And I hate to break it to you, but you might be one of the relatives someone else is embarrassed by, right? And when the Christmas comes, we get together with relatives. Some we're looking forward to seeing, some we wish we didn't have to see at all. But here's the real message of the genealogy of Jesus, which is something we often skip over when we talk about the Christmas story. The genealogy of Jesus Christ basically says that God can change your story. Even if you've made a mess out of your life, he can turn your mess into a message. He can turn your test into a testimony. He can redeem the mess you have made of your life. And we've all made messes.